just like every other person in isolation, I thought I might do a few things on YouTube to while away the time and try and do a few piano tutorials. I've got a very lo-fi setup here. I've got a selfie stick with my phone squashed between some washing on the top of the piano, and I've got an out of tune piano, so I apologize for that. But I thought I might just go through the piano part to Last Day of June, which is a Finn Brothers song, which I really love. And the accompaniment pattern is relatively simple, even though the chords that it goes through can get a little bit tricky. But anyway, so I'll just go through the verse and the chorus and then break it down in a little more detail. So I thought I'd just go through that part because some of the verse repeats, and although there are some variations, it's essentially the same chords. So we start in C minor, that's my middle C, and your right hand will start on C, E flat, G, C minor chord, and your left hand will be an octave below, fifth finger on that C, and your thumb on that G, and you'll be using that thumb as a pivot note in the accompaniment pattern, and that repeats itself throughout the song. So initially, you'll be playing this chord 4 times with your right hand. And that comes together with the left little finger on the C. And after the second time, you'll start to play that G. Just again. 2, 3, 4. Then we move to a G major chord. So your right hand will be playing B, D, and G. And your left hand, the thumb will stay on the G, and the little finger will just sneak down to the B. So this is a G major chord over a B bass. And you'll play that chord twice in the right hand. And then move the fourth finger to the F, natural, to make a G7 chord. And again with that alternating pattern with the left hand. And those 2 bars repeat. And then everything moves down a semitone to B flat major. So you'll be playing B flat, D and F in the right hand, and your left hand will be playing a B flat down there and an F here. So you'll play that chord twice in the right hand, and then you'll change to playing a C with your second finger. So that gives a B sus2, and then back to the D. And together it looks like this. Again, using that F in your left hand as a pivot. And then the chord opens out a bit to D minor. So your right hand, you need to stretch it out a bit, will play an F, A, D, and F, or at least be sitting ready to play that. And your left hand will be down on that low D in the bass. So you'll play the upper 3 notes first and pivot on the F like this. The third beat of the bar has a C instead of a D. So it's almost like an F major chord like this. And together you play that initially with the low D. Then we move up to E flat major. So you'll be on an octave E flat in the left hand, and your right hand will be on B flat, E flat, G. The simplest way to play it is just in that position like this, alternating with the octave E in the left hand. I think what's actually played is something like this, where it's arpeggiated between the hands. So if you want to do that, after playing the initial chord, you'll play a B flat in your left hand, move the chord down to those 3 notes, and then follow that by the E flat. If that's too tricky, just stick to the basic pattern that I initially showed you. And then we move to F. So we've got F octave in the bass, and an A and C in the right hand, and they just alternate like this. Then we're back to E flat, this time starting G, B flat, E flat, still an E flat chord, but in a different position. It's just a different inversion of it. And again, resting on that octave in the E, sort of E flat. Back to F. Let's play that again. Okay. So these next 3 chords, it just takes a sudden left turn out of nowhere, which I really like. We're suddenly up to G flat major. I split it between 2 hands. You don't have to do that. You can play it all with 1 hand. But what I do is I play with a G flat with my thumb in the bass, then a B flat and D. So that's a G flat major chord. I move down to the F in the bass with an A flat, D flat in my right hand. That's a D flat major chord. And the last chord is that, which is E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. That's an E flat minor 7 chord. So I'll just play those 3 in succession slowly. And our destination is A flat major, but first in the right hand we're going to play A flat, D flat, and E flat, which makes it an A sus 4. And then we'll be resolving that to E flat and C. Okay, that's a straight A flat major chord, and that gets us to the chorus, which is a G flat major chord. So we'll have a G flat octave in the left hand, and B flat and D flat in the right, and you can add in the F as well, which makes a G flat major 7 chord, or you could just keep it like that. So that sounds like this. And then we go to a D flat major chord. So we're on low D flat in the bass, and your right hand will be on A flat, D flat, and F. That's the simplest way to play it. Again, I think what's played is something like this. Where you use the A flat and D flat in the bass as an alternating pattern to create a little bit more momentum. I'll just play that slowly again. Finally, we move up to a G flat in your left hand, and your right hand will be playing a series of thirds, starting on A flat C, moving up to B flat, D flat, and then up to C, E flat, and then the last little bit is C and F, so that 4th there, which repeats itself. After you play that, you move up to an A flat in the bass. You play this 3 times, 1, 2, 3. So that's the basic structure of the song, which repeats itself. There are a few more nuances. I can go through those at one time, but it's probably enough to digest in this first video. Okay, see ya.